Hey folks, welcome back. It's Kozzi here for Pick 1 Pack 1, and we are going to run in and smash out a couple of drafts. I think this is going to be the deck that was the woulda coulda. I can't help but wonder what would have happened if I was Prescient and chosen to go into time. We would have had the Lumen Defender, we would have had the Xenon Obelisk. Instead, we have a deck that I'm a little bit nervous about because none of my guys are super great at blocking and we don't have a lot to help us with our aggression. 4-3 is fine so long as we don't draw too many more power. In our power, we do have a pair of monuments, so we have a degree of mitigating flood there. If we can draw a 2-drop, we'll be laughing. Oh! I better make that true. That's good news. That means now we can curve and we can start to get aggressive. We'll be attacking in here, hopefully trading off with something rubbish. Or even better, getting in. Dropping the Rebel Sharpshooter, playing the Granite Acolyte on it to turn into a 5-3 quick draw, and holding up the torch. And if they don't have something like Lightning Storm to claw back in with a 2-for-1 or a good blocker, we should be in a very healthy space. So they look like a Haunted Scream style deck, or at the very least a Felon Infiltrate deck. I feel like I'm in quite a comfortable spot. We have the Acolyte who's ready to die, who's willing to trade off with the Fanatic. That was a little bit of a shame. But we're not exactly losing value. So I need to ask myself, is it worth torching this Fanatic and stopping them from gaining life and drawing cards? I think it is worth my torch. So they have the 4-4 that's given them the Jotun Hurler that's given them that snowball. I can't think of many other circumstances how they get one. And unfortunately we're flooding out a little bit. From our opening hand, we've had what? We've drawn a 2-drop and a Rapid Shot and 2 lands, which isn't a great deal. 50-50 when we should be drawing them at a third. Do we want to use a Rapid Shot here? I think we do. Just try and keep the table clear. And whilst it doesn't make too much of a difference to their play representing something with the Sigil, we might as well hold it back. The only thing that we have that costs 6 in the deck is the Crowd Favourite, of which we have 1 copy, and we don't have any card draw other than the Ornate Katanas and the likelihood of us drawing something. That's a very, very good draw. He's low, so happy enough to sit around. So the problem is these guys have flying, which isn't great for us. Am I happy to trade here? Not massively, but he's not going to be attacking in anyway. Do I have anything that allows us to get better? Not really. The best that I can hope for with this is that it's fodder for my singleton copy of the cat. By the same token, I also don't want to really expose myself to a Lightning Storm in case they top deck it, so we might as well keep getting in and force them into a block. This is when a single copy of Dark Return would make me very, very happy. But as is, we've just got to work with what we've got. At least they're on such low life now that they need to respect the swing back. But we've really run out of resources and they're going to just be generating advantage, which isn't great news for us. Nor is that, unfortunately. I have the suspicion we're just going to get flown over and ignored. if we use our Amethyst Acolyte here. So they're doing 8 a turn, so we're on a 3-turn clock that we need to try and break through with. If we use the Amethyst Acolyte to attack, to turn that into a 1, they're doing 7 damage. We're still on a 3-turn clock. It doesn't change the equation. If we use it here to turn this into a 1-1, we can still attack and they'll still block out, so it doesn't change the equation. At least it gives us a 2-drop to attack with. It's a start of slowing down. But yeah, what we've drawn has been quite ineffective. They're keeping that back so they've got something to block the Amethyst Acolyte with, and these Maguses are going to kill us. Alrighty folks, that didn't go to plan. We got comprehensively outflown. Which is not surprising considering how few flyers we have. Yeah, we got up to what, 8 power? We definitely drew higher than a 1/3 rate of power out of our deck, that's for certain. And when they were getting card advantage like they were by creating the extra 2/2s, there's very little we can do. I think I made the right decision in torching their guy. For them to gain 3 cards would have been just backbreaking against us when we know we have so little card draw to help us out. And this is not a hand that we can keep. Plague would have been amazing in that matchup too, because we could have attacked in, they would have blocked with their 2/2s. Having already had 1 damage, it would have been a kill spell. And unfortunately for this, we're dead unless we draw power. Okay, that's a relief. Opponent might be playing Feln, they might be playing Stonescar. They're not going to give us the chance to know right at the moment. Do I want to play the Diplomatic Seal right now? What double shadow cards do I have? Not a lot. Okay, so we'll just make sure that we get these colours sorted out first. Next turn I think we'll be playing the Xenon Destroyer into the Granite Acolyte. Oh, the one bit I should have thought of was actually trying to get to my 3rd. We don't want to let them gain life when we're being an aggro deck. I should have thought about whether I wanted to get my 3rd shadow for the Umbran Reaper to be able to play it on time. Fortunately, my deck flooding out is giving me the colours that I need. We just don't need any more now, deck. It's 2 power in a row has been fine. Okay, sure. You're trying to make up for last time. I appreciate that. The Stonescar Magus could get the least amount of value here if I'm not careful. But I can't see too many other things. I definitely don't want to create a 4-1. Do I want to create a 4-1? No, because if they can't deal with the Umbran Reaper, I want to be attacking for 7 a turn. That'll make life very difficult for them. Whoa, 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 whoa. I need to slow down and get out of autopilot. Now they have a piece of interaction. What kind of interaction could they have? They could have the quick draw spell, they could have a torch, they could have... They can't have a combust because it wouldn't put a stop there. But if I'm not going to play the Umbran Reaper now, when am I? And what can I play that will draw it out? I could play Slumbering Stone Granite Acolyte onto the Slumbering Stone, creating a 2/2. If they have a Plague, it punishes me. Otherwise, I'm okay. I think we just play the Umbran Reaper. If they can't deal with it, then I have the chance to attack in for 7. Okay. So I paid 5 to do 5 damage to them. Gain 5 life and remove a torch from their hand. That's not the worst deal in the world. They still have another piece of interaction, which is a bit annoying. And we're going to do that plan that I said with the Slumbering Stone, where not only do I want to diversify my power, but the Slumbering Stone is the one that's actually going to give me value if they decide that they have to deal with it. Even if they play something big, I can still kill a 5 health unit with my torch. And yeah, unfortunately we didn't get our value there. Is their hand just interaction? That's what it looks like at the moment. If their hand is just interaction, would I rather have a 3-3 than to sacrifice my 2-1? Allows me to attack for 7. They both allow me to attack for 7, but I got a bigger... I think I just want a 3-3 right now. They definitely don't look like they're playing units. They look like they're just trying to kill everything. So yeah, that was the right decision there, suspecting that they had more removal. Tell you what. Death Strike, pair of torches. It's a very defensive little deck. Do I want to use the torch on it? No, not quite yet. It doesn't represent too much of a problem to me right at the moment. I'm happy enough taking 1. We got plenty of life. I want to keep my torch potentially for lethal. If they're going to spend their whole turn spending 3 mana, 3 power a turn to do that, I'm not too unhappy. Do we kill the Snowslinger so we can get him for 2 damage? It brings them down to 7. They'll be on a 3-turn clock with my torch that I'm saving. Yeah, I think we do. We have ornate katanas, we have extra units we can draw into. We just want to keep this clock ticking down. Every time they use their power on that Walking Nightmare, I'm happy. I still got ages before it represents lethal. And that's the good news for me when they're keeping it back as a blocker. Do I want to torch so I can keep this guy alive and have 2 creatures that'll attack for 5 next turn? I think I'm happy doing that. So if we draw an ornate katana, if we draw the weapon dude, whatever his name was, we're okay. Do I want to attack in and offer the trade? Not really. We'll just attack in here. And this way we can now threaten to attack wide. Whew, and we got there. That's getting tense. And definitely wasn't happy waiting around that long to kill with so few resources. Although I guess we had a couple of things we could have played around with. What else do we have in the deck? So we could have topped a Charge Chain Fail, Execute would have done damage, another Granite Acolyte, Plague would have been fine, Magma Javelin would have worked. We'd already used Umbra and Reaper, hadn't we? Crowd Favorite was the one I couldn't remember the name of. So yeah, we had a lot of outs there. We had an awful lot of outs. In fact, the Stranger was probably one of the worst cards in our deck for us to have drawn at that stage. Normally I like to keep 4 power hands with spells that I can cast, but this is really anemic as far as the spells that I have in my deck. I could get punished for choosing to be greedy and look for a better hand. Yeah. It's ugly as having 5 power, but at least the quality of these cards is much higher. So if we are able to just not draw power for the next 3 or 4 turns, we should be okay. It's a good draw. Keep developing here with the Obsidian Golem. Next turn we play the Diplomatic Seal to get our 3rd shadow. And depending on what they do, we can either Warcry out a blocker or we can annihilate something. What do we want to do? They'll likely double block, and they'll most likely double block here. If I do nothing and go, you know what, 1-for-1 trade, I can then annihilate the Serpent Trainer, which is probably my priority right now. Otherwise I could exhaust the Serpent Trainer, and then I've still got that problem later, although I guess by then I could have played my Umbran Reaper. Yeah, okay. Sit back and see what else we can see. Okay, so they're digging. It means that they probably have answers in their deck that I need to just keep in mind. They didn't draw an Echo card, but if they're playing Second Sight, it makes me think that it's the style of deck that has Echo cards. And so that's bad news. Static Bolts are normally 2 for doing 2 damage, and then increase the damage dealt by all static bolts in your hand by 1. So they've drawn a 3rd one to make it 3. They've drawn a 4th. No, they've drawn a 2nd one to make it 3. They've drawn a 3rd one. They've been putting that 3rd one back on top. So they'll draw it next turn. So I think I can correctly assume that they've got 3 static bolts there that will do 5 damage apiece. If that's the case, perhaps I want to slow play this and try and save it for a little bit later. And I could do that by playing my Guerrilla Fighter here, exhausting this and attacking in with my Golem. But I want to work out a way of seeing if I can keep this Umbran Reaper alive. Yeah, so I'm entirely correct here. The other 2 cards in their hand are Static Bolts. Which could mean I'm on a virtual 16, although I imagine they'll have to use it against one of my units. So let's have a think here. If they've got 2 Static Bolts and Snowball, whatever it's called, I could Cassione Katana representing a trade. It's not really 2 for 1ing myself because I get the extra card from the drawer card. But I do need to be careful because these guys can do damage to me quickly, and I am on a virtual 16. I guess if they don't block I could execute, but geez, that's not a good deal. But then again, they don't have any more creatures. Alternatively, I can play my Umbran Reaper, but that's just going to get the Snowball now, which is even worse. Okay, I don't want to play my Reaper right now at all. Not until I can protect it in some way, shape or form. It's a good exchange. Because if I can get them low enough, it could start to represent a lot of problem. This could draw the snowball out of their hand. Is snowball fast? Doesn't say whether it's a fast spell or not. Either way, I'm happy to find out. It's better than my other options. Because if I can use one of those static bolts, then all of a sudden I gain 5 life, which is huge. Yes. And so if I do this for 7, my Umbran Reaper should kill them unless they have a silence effect. Wow, we managed to get past 4 static bolts. That's pretty tough going. Unless they have a silence effect, they're dead. Yes! Whew. Oh boy. That was tough going. That was a... Whew. It's not often I'm lost for words, hey folks? But I feel like, geez, I had to work for that. Alrighty, 2-1 after getting around a pretty sweet direct damage Elysian deck. I never thought that would be a sentence that would come through my lips, but there you go. Yeah, that was not easy. That was not easy at all. I'm pretty stoked at that. Let's see if we can keep it up, hey? I look forward to seeing how we go for matches 4 to 6. Thanks as always for watching, and I look forward to seeing you guys in just a moment. I've been Kozzi drafting for Pick 1, Pack 1. Have a good one.